U.S. dollar. Do you know what it's worth? It all depends on where you go. If I go to Canada along the Canadian-U.S. borders, um, you go to a store. There's two prices you see: Canadian dollars and U.S. dollars, because it exchanges back and forth, whatever the current prices is. And it is. I go there. I have a drawer full of quarters and 10-cent pieces, what have you, from Canada. I can't say I have a drawer for in dollars, because you go back and forth. You exchange rate. You go to the bank, exchange rate, or you go to the black market. There is still a black market in most countries of U.S. dollars. Yes. When the USSR was in full swing, U.S. dollars were worth more on the streets than in the exchange rate, because they were worth more. Your second currency was foreign currency, and U.S. dollars was one of them. You wanted to stabilize a country, usually it's U.S. dollars that were always used. When Bill Clinton was president of the United States, his State Department was handing out cash. You walk into a U.S. consulate thing, and sitting on a table, mind you, was stacks of dollars, wrapped. Take one. Bill Clinton destabilized the Russian ruble. He handed out millions of dollars to the commissars, and they're thinking, oh yeah, well, there's a party over here, the American embassy, and there's a stack of money sitting at the door, and you take one. You take a wad. And that destabilized that thing. U.S. consul generals, embassies, handed out a lot of money to Russian citizens, mainly commissars. I mean, you might say that Bill Clinton created the Russian mob with cash. Why? Well, Bill Clinton said to the then president of Russia, he knew more about socialism than the communists did. Thank you. And the 2016 election in the United States, Hillary Clinton was considered to be scumbag to President Putin. I'm quite sure if Mickey Mouse was running against Hillary Clinton, Mickey Mouse would have won being president. Anybody running against Hillary Clinton would have won because of Putin's dislike of the Clintons, because destroying the Russian ruble. The Russian ruble, after a while in Moscow, became toilet paper. Yeah. It became toilet paper because of the U.S. dollar. Now there's that little thing as, oh well, that's awful. Well, yes, it is. And if the Canadians wanted to flood this country with Canadian dollars, and all the consulate generals and that thing, why walk into, say, Chicago, and you flood the place with Canadian dollars? Canadian dollars becomes the choice of doing business. When Russia went into something like Poland and Poland and Eastern Europe, they replaced the local currency with Russian rubles. Russian rubles were worth more money than the country's currency. And then, of course, you have the U.S. dollars, where the underground U.S. dollars. U.S. dollars are worth money in China, but there is no official. Well, the unofficial rate is U.S. dollars. Hong Kong is U.S. dollars. and it still is. The problem is the why the United States keeps changing the feel. Well, it's not the feel. It's the face of a U.S. dollar is different than it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago, and the difference between a $100 bill 20 years ago is totally different today because the striping and everything else. That is to keep one step ahead of the counterfeiters, which runs into another problem worldwide. Is the U.S. dollars is that second thing, and it's a great counterfeiting bill. I'll say, well, how do you counterfeit it? Well, it's very easy. You take the $1 bill, you remove the ink off of it, and you put another ink. In the United States, currency leaving this country could be you remove the ink here, and you send currency to somewhere else because it's only paper. Yeah, it's only paper without the printing. That's how you do it. There was a movie made like that way where they washed the face of the dollars and replace it with a $100 bill, a symbol, $100. You remove the $1 bill and you replace it because all U.S. currency are the same size. So you remove the $1 bill, you put a $20 bill on, or 50. I don't know. I'm a $50 bill, or $100. But basically, you're replacing it with, say, a $20. It's because it's the same size. It's not the same image, but it's the same size. When it was a lot easier to counterfeit money, it's a lot harder to counterfeit money now. If a person is feeling it, you can feel the difference between that and a sheet of paper. There's a big difference. But movies can be very fictionalizing. What you can do with, say, making money or stamping out coins, counterfeit coins. But at one time, yes, it's a lot harder now. That's why if you go to something like Canadian currency, it was always hard to duplicate. The U.S. dollars were a lot easier. But